Hello, welcome to this very special edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace reporting live here at Sabrosa here in New York City. Tonight performing here in a very rare performance with Bobby Sanabria's Quarteto a.k.a. is a.k.a. jazz master and jazz percussionist icon Candido Camero. In a career that spans some 8 decades, Mr. Camero has played as well as made history with some of the most important figures of both the Latin jazz world as well as jazz world, ranging from the greats like Machito, Dizzy Gillespie, Tony Bennett, Duke Ellington. The list goes on and on. Tonight, he's going to be playing some of the very important things that made him very popular throughout his career. And he's been hailed as the father of modern conga drumming, and this guy has fused both the Caribbean as well as Cuban styles, but also really did some things in the 1950s that made him stick out more so than his contemporaries like Chano Pozo as well as Mongo Santa Maria. We sat down earlier and we reflected on his life growing up in Cuba, how he came here and immigrated to the United States playing with some very important musical icons, barely knowing the King's English, as well as what he wants to see as far as his legacy carried down as far as the other percussionists and drummers that come under him. So sit back, relax, and enjoy a.k.a. jazz master and jazz icon Candido Camero with the legendary Bobby Sanabria's Quarteto a.k.a. live here at Sabrosa here in New York City as part of the Pace Report. Mr. Camero, it is an honor to really be sitting down here breaking bread with you. First of all, I want to begin this interview. Let's talk about the beginnings, the origins of Cuba. Tell me how you got exposed to the congas.
Well, in my family, from my father's side and from my mother's side, everyone was on very interested always in music. So when I was 4 years old, I asked my father, well, I became a musician. So he asked me, what you like to play? I said, bongos. So he said, I don't have money to play bongos, but I can make you a pair of bongos. So he take two empty cans, condensed milk, and he put the skin on, and that was my first pair of bongos. I was 14 years old, 4 years old. I was 4 years old. I was in a kindergarten in school. When I used to come to the house from the school, my mother, she used to make the breakfast, prepare the breakfast and lunch, and I was banging the table. And she said, stop that because you're going to hurt your hand. And my grandfather, he used to tell her, let him play. Someday he's going to be a big name all over the world. And that's exactly what happened. That's why I'm here tonight. And that's why I have this interview with you. And I hope it's not the last one. And I want to take the opportunity to say hello to all my friends all over the world. Because thank God, next April, the 22nd, I we turn 94 years old. And I still playing. People ask me, when you going to retire? I say, I don't have the calendar. They said I have to retire.
That's right.
So that's the whole thing started. And I've been lucky. I have a good assistant, and also he's my attorney, Roberto Marrero. He took me everywhere for 18 years. Everywhere I had to go, he take me. And then I have another assistant who take care of the three congas. He's the one take the on and off of the suitcases. So only thing I had to do, go and play, and that's it. And say hello to everyone in the world, everybody, everywhere in the world. So I feel very lucky, very, very lucky, very proud, mostly from my mother and father, because without them, no Candido. I also want to say thank you to my the producer, Ivan Acosta, who made the documentary Candido Hand on Fire. And thank God I not complain.
Mr. Camero, I want to ask you, when you were growing up in Cuba, there were many, many different styles, musical styles, that incorporated the bongos and the congas. Tell me some of the musical styles that were very important to the styles of jazz, what evolved into jazz, but some of the music that you grew up listening to.
Well, the congas and the bongos start with like a song, we call a song, danzón, mambo, cha-cha-cha, rumba, Colombia, guaguancó, todo eso Afro-Cuban rhythm belong to, they come from Africa. And that's why now it's all over the world. You find one conga all over the world now. But who's the modern father for that? People from Africa. They the one to start that. And they have a lot of following, everywhere in the world. You see one conga or one bongo. And I'm very happy about that.
One of your contemporaries was the great Chano Pozo. Tell me how you guys met.
Well, we played together in Tropicana nightclub. It's #1 nightclub in Cuba. He was on the show, and I was on the band. So we became very good friends until I came to United States, New York, 1946, July 7, 1946, and Chano came No, pardon. I'm sorry. In 1948, I came to the United States. July 7, 1948.
You came a little bit before him.
Yeah, I came to the United States before Chano Pozo, 6 months before. I came July 7, 1946. And he came in December 1946. And then he got killed 1948. And that year.
Chano Pozo was probably one of the forefounders of and pioneers of your instrument and your trade. What was it about Chano that was very unique to the congas and also percussion?
He was very artistic. He very showmanship, and he was a composer. And he got lucky when he met Mario Bauza, Machito Afro-Cuban. So he would play with them. He recorded with them. I was on that recording also with Chano and Machito Afro-Cuban. And he was very, very, very talented. But he had some kind of problem, and he got killed 1948. But he came 1946, 6 months after I came. And he made the composition of Manteca that been played all over the world until now. It's going to be played forever. And he was the composer of that. He and Chano Pozo. They both was the composer for that, yeah.
Dizzy
Gillespie and Dizzy Gillespie and Chano Pozo. They the one was the composer for Manteca. And that song been played all over the world and going to be played forever because it's very unique. It's a standard now. Yes. And we played together in Cuba, in Tropicana nightclub. He was on the show, and I was on the band. He used to call me my brother. Once he never called me my name. I said, how long, brother?
Mr. Camero, I have to ask you this because you did some things. You brought up earlier Ramba and Son were very, very popular musical styles. Tell me when the transition from the bongos to the congas made its fruition to Latin jazz. Because for a while when you think of earlier forms of Latin music, you think of the bongos, but you guys brought in the congas.
Yes, well, the conga, the people from the Mardi Gras, they the one use the conga first. And then the popular music like the son, danzón, and many other different rhythms. Arsenio Rodriguez, he was the first one used a conga on his orchestra, his conjunto. Arsenio Rodriguez, he was the very first one. But that comes from the comparsa, the Mardi Gras. Everyone in Cuba, they have 43 different neighborhoods. And each one have their own comparsa, and each comparsa have their own music and instrument and everything. So that's the conjunto and orchestra start using the conga and bongo.
Tell me about your accidental experience. You did something and you innovated a very, very unique style with the congas. And it was by accident because when you came to America, this is the reason why you're playing multiple congas.
Right. Well, when I came to America, there was a few conga players, but nobody used 3 or 2 congas. Only one. I was the very first one, used the 3 congas and play melody with the 3 congas like a piano. But before that, they only used 1 conga. I was the first one, used the 3 congas and play melodies on 3 congas. And now I have very following on that matter because now everybody play 3, 4, 5. I say, well, okay, that's make me happy to see that because the first one started.
And that's how you developed your famous nickname, the man with 1,000 fingers.
Exactly. And the man who made that name was Ivan Acosta. He's the one, the producer and director of the documentary called Candido Hen of Fire. Yeah, that was
You know, back in 1951, 52, 53, just right around the corner from us, on the famous 52nd Street, you had Birdland, which you were very a part of, as well as there was a theater called the Palladium that you were very part of. And there were two different musical styles that were happening that were really coming into fruition at the time. Tell me about that period.
El Palerio.
Yes.
Well, they call the horn on the mambo. That's what all the big names on the Latin field was playing there. Machito, he's Afro-Cuban, Tito Puente, Pérez Prado, Tito Rodriguez, Marcelino Guerra, so many different bands was playing the Palerio. And that's why especially the Cuban music went like up. Until now, it's going to be forever. That way.
Did you, when you went around the corner up the street to Birdland, jazz was in its heyday or was becoming the American music. Did you think in a million years that both the Latin jazz and jazz worlds would collide? Because you guys basically would leave one club and go to another, and you guys were hanging out, and it accidentally became what we call Latin music.
Yeah, because we used to go there to hear and see all the innovation and the combination, and until they decide to Latin jazz musicians, the big one like Dizzy Gillespie, Charlie Parker, and many others, they went to Palladium to hear and see, and then that's what they was interested in and use Latin percussion. And since then, all the jazz music, not everyone, but mostly, they use conga drums. And I was one of the first ones.
So at the time you were playing with Dizzy as well as Machito, Afro-Cuban really kind of evolved in the early 50s.
Yes, exactly. And, when I first came to America in 1946, Machito was already a big name. And also Tito Puente and Tito Rodriguez and Marcelino Guerra. They also have a big name. And now they're not here anymore, so they're still playing the music. The children of Machito, the son of Machito, he took over the band. And the son of Tito Rodriguez, he took over the band. And the son of Tito Puente, he took over the band. And that's mean that music and his memory, that's never going to die.
Bobby, when was the first time that you became aware of Candido's music?
Oh, when I was a child, I saw him on the Ed Sullivan Show, backing up a singer from Puerto Rico, Lucecita Benitez, and he took a solo. He had one conga and bongos between his legs and did an amazing solo. He was featured on camera. So that's the first time I became aware of him, and it's amazing now that after all these years, I've been playing with him and recording with him, and he's a friend, so I'm really blessed. Candido's legacy is important. It's very is paramount to the development, the evolution of how we play conga drums today. He was actually the first person to develop the techniques to play 2, 3, and more drums simultaneously. Where before in Cuba, players would only play one drum, especially if they were in an orchestra, they played just one conga drum. And then Candido comes along and starts developing these techniques that we use today. So you can trace what every conga player does today back to him. He also developed tuning specifically to specific pitches so he could play melodies on the drums in a very musical way. He also developed what we call coordinated independence, which is he's keeping a steady rhythm with one hand while the other hand is improvising. And he also developed multiple percussion where he would come up with things like he's playing a cowbell with one foot, a guiro with one hand, playing the 3 conga drums with his left hand, so, and then singing at the same time. So whenever you see a percussionist in pop groups where they have these big, huge percussion setups, all that stuff goes back to Candido. And like as I said before, all the other techniques that he developed are paramount to the way we play today. Without him, who knows what we would be doing today.
He's outlived a lot of his contemporaries, and he's still living to tell the tale. What is some of the things that he's imparted to you as a musician and as well as a percussionist in this music?
Well, to be always professional, always be dressed appropriately for whatever job that you're playing. Always be on time. Always cater to the needs musically of the leader. Always be friendly with the musicians, because he always says, hay que ser amigo no solamente en la tarima, pero afuera de la tarima también, which means, loosely translated, means you can't just be friends on the stage, you have to be friends off the stage as well. And his work ethic, it's just amazing. I mean, I've never heard him complain. And I've played with him at times when he's been in extreme pain and he doesn't say anything, and he still gives 110%. That's an old school thing that my father and probably your father and his contemporaries all exuded. There's something to be said for that old school work ethic, and Candido exudes it always, all the time. So if you're looking for a great model for young musicians to follow, look no further than Candido.
You had the wonderful opportunity to play with some very important figures of the music and the idiom of jazz. One of the first guys I want to ask you about and give you reflections on is a guy he means a lot to me, Dr. Billy Taylor.
Oh, wow, Dr. Billy Taylor, rest in peace. Number one for me, number one, like they say in English, A1. Nobody like Billy Taylor. I was playing in a show they call Night in Havana, and Dizzy Gillespie, he came to see the show, and when I finished with the show, Dizzy Gillespie was playing on Berlin. So he took me to the Downbeat Club where Billy Taylor was playing. Dizzy Gillespie asked Billy Taylor if he can play one set with them. So Billy Taylor said yes. And the club owner, he was there, so he signed me for 2 weeks with options. Every 2 weeks, I had to sign a new contract. And then he sent his piano player, Winton Kelly. The family was from Panama, so he would speak Spanish. So he asked me, Dizzy Gillespie want you to go with us and the role. So I said, okay. But Dizzy Gillespie said something about mañana. Because he don't speak English, and I don't speak, he don't speak Spanish, and I don't speak English. So mañana, I thought he was telling me the next day. I went back to the Downbeat Club, and they signed me for 1 year and a half. So I stayed with Billy Taylor as a house band for 1 year and a half. And Billy Taylor was very happy, very happy. For me, he was a great personal and musical. There's something beautiful, special about him, yeah. So this Gillespie told me, that's el un mañana. I said, I thought you said something about mañana. I told Winton Kelly, tell him that he said something about mañana. I thought he mean go with them on the road next day. But when he said mañana, I went back to the Downbeat the next day. And signed me for a year and a half. So when I finished the contract, then I went with him on the road. Then I played with Stan Kenton all over the United States. And then I played with Dizzy Gillespie, Charlie Parker, Stan Kenton, Billy Taylor, and so many. Every name, big name on the jazz field, I played with them, I recorded with them, I did concert with them, I traveled with them. And I feel very lucky that way, very proud, because they all the same respect they have for me. That's the same respect I have for them, and that's how things happen.
You know, a lot of American fans really got your first exposure of Candido Camero on a show called the Ed Sullivan Show.
Exactly. That was with Lena Horne. Exactly. And the name on the song was called Day A, Day Out. Because they make a copy for me, I have that. That's how I remember. And then I was with Tony Bennett. I also went with Tony Bennett. Then I went to Steve Allen, to Tony Bennett. Then I went to Jackie Gleason with Tommy Dorsey and his brother Jimmy. And then I played on the channel, the Latin channels with Machito and Afro-Cuban, Miguelito Valdez, Marco Rizzo, also with Bobby Sanabria, Chico Farri. You mentioned.
You know, I want to ask you another thing about your career. You played and you were on the legendary recording with Duke Ellington and his orchestra.
Exactly.
Tell me about the first time you met Duke, and tell me the very first time as a Cuban in America, the first time you saw his band and what you thought of it.
Well, I can't believe it because I don't expect something good, but not that good. With Duke Ellington, Count Basie, Woody Herman, Stan Kenton, all the big names on the jazz field. When I was in Cuba, I listened to the radio. I said, I hope someday I go to United States. And Dan Steen, Carmen and Rolando, they the one brought me to United States. So when I get to the hotel, I now open the suitcase because I was waiting for the nighttime to go to 52nd Street. And for both sides of the street, they have all the jazz club, all the big names on the jazz field. So when I saw Duke Ellington, I asked him if he would like to hear one of my records that I brought from Cuba at that time. When he heard that, he said, would you like to record it with me tomorrow? That's what my interpreter told me that he was asking me. I said, yeah, I'm ready right now, not tomorrow. I know what that tomorrow, right now. That's why he recorded The Drum is a Woman and the television, The Drum is a Woman, that was all over the United States. And then when he passed away, then I stayed with his son on the band. He keep the band, Mercer Ellington, yeah. And now his granddaughter, Mercedes, she has something in mind, nothing but drums, but she want me to be the special guest on that. And that's what I say. I feel very, como se dice en inglés, a dream come true.
And Roberto. And yours very truly, Candido Camero Guerra. Camero from my father's side, and Guerra from my mother's side. I'm very lucky, I feel very lucky, I'm very proud of them. Because without them, no Candido. And I'm very happy, very satisfied with them, more and more and more and more. When I come to the stage, my authorities make me look like I'm 100 years old. But when I play these three white conga drums from LP, look out. I feel feel like 20 years old. And you know who give me all this energy? All the wonderful people here. Yes, yes. Thank you again. Muchas gracias again. And like Jackie Gleason would say, and then where we go. Gracias again. Muchas gracias. Dios los bendiga. Thank you very much and God bless you.
What does jazz music mean to you?
Well, it's good music besides that, and that's where they come from, the jazz from New Orleans or the Dixieland, like Louis Armstrong and many others from New Orleans. And that's what I said, that's where the jazz come from, Dixieland. And then they call it jazz, but it's a real Dixieland from New Orleans. And for me, it's like it's something always good, different, and beautiful. And I was lucky to be able to enjoy that atmosphere of jazz. Very happy.
What is it that you want the next generation of percussion players and people to play the congas? What is it that you want them to understand and carry on in the tradition that you carried on?
Well, I only say, I always say, all the new generation, special musicians, I say, stay away from Bert Howard, stay away from bad company, and stay away from bad advice. And if you want to become somebody, you have to stay on that line. Not drink. I'm April. This coming April 22nd, God willing, I'm going to be 94 years old. I never drink, I never smoke, and I never use false inspiration. Because I say anything is not necessary, I don't care for. Yes, my music, and give me my check when I finish my job. Very happy, very happy. The only thing I have very bad arthritis now. But thank God, my hands, they're okay, my arms, they're okay. But my legs, I loosen strength on my legs, so I had to be all over on a wheelchair, and thank God Roberto take me everywhere. Yes. So, I want to say hello to all my friends and all my fans all over the world, because when I go to all those countries, the first thing they ask me, when you coming back? I said, well, soon. That soon to me, if they have a capital friends, they have to ask him to make then a chair so they can sit down and wait. No, I would like to go right now, everywhere. Yeah, I'm not complaining about that. Very happy. They treat me like a king everywhere. Thank God. Yeah. So I want to say Happy New Year to everyone here and there, and I want to thank you for the interview.
Anytime. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
That'll do it again for this very special edition of the Pace Report, reporting live here at Sabrosa here in New York City. I'd like to personally thank a.k.a. jazz master and the talented Candido Camero for his time, as well as Bobby Sanabria and his ensemble, Quarteto a.k.a. Also, I'd like to personally thank the staff and management here at Sabrosa and the Blue Note Entertainment Group for their warm hospitality. When you're in New York, please visit Sabrosa, and to check out all the information for this club, times, and the artists that will be performing here, please visit their website at www.sabrosanyc.com. As always, please visit my website, www.thepacereport.com, for my weekly column as well as my past segments. Until next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Till next time, peace. Peace.
Candido Camero.